Hello everybody. I thought I'd give one of these paint-along videos a go after having seen Ralph's very entertaining examples over the last month or so. Um, very interesting, and I thought I would, you know, in my own humble way, give it a try. What you're seeing in front of you, if this all comes out, is my recent efforts at painting the plastic Italeri figures from the Last Outpost set. I picked up a number of these sets over the years. Probably the rarest one now is the Rorke's Drift set. For those who don't know, you get two sets of pre-existing Italeri figures and usually a couple of plastic construction kits, tanks, artillery, and a Sarissa building or fortification of some sort. I mean, the most recent one is the Monte Cassino, which is I mean, it's a wonderful model. It's stylized. Of course, it couldn't hope to replicate the whole building, but it can be built so that it can be made to have bits removed to show it in a damaged state, and it's quite a beautiful thing. You've got the reissue of the British infantry as Polish infantry and German parachutists, and a couple of tanks, I believe, on that one. Other ones that I've had is the Gladiator set with Gladiator figures and a quite nice, smallish Colosseum. As I say, the Rorke's Drift kit, which is very nice actually, with the Zulu and British infantry figures. I've also got the Hundred Years' War siege castle, Joan of Arc, French infantry and English infantry, and I picked up a Battle of Arras set, which is again a highly stylized small French village by Sarissa, just probably about two shops actually, but with all the decals and makes up into quite a nice model. A couple of tanks, one German, one British, and two sets of infantry. As I say, they all reuse existing older uh, plastic model soldier sets, but they're very reminiscent of the old Airfix, Sheriff of Nottingham, Fort Apache, Fort Sahara, uh, Roman Mile Castle kits that you used to get with a couple of sets of figures. And I went back to them. I always struggle a little bit with plastic figures. It doesn't matter how sharp the knife that I've got, and some of the knives have been of surgical quality. Some of the flash is very hard to cleanly remove. Fortunately, these figures don't suffer too badly from that. I did hear there was a method where you stick a needle into a cork, heat the needle up, and that basically burns off the flash. But unless you get it right, you end up, you know, maybe going a little too far. So I've cleaned these off, undercoated them in gloss varnish to stiffen them up, given them a white undercoat, then gone in with the colours. I'm afraid my British infantry are just British Scarlet out the can and with a wash over the top. I did do some metal figures for the early Jacobite rebellions, and you know, for what I'm doing, I mean, it doesn't compare with what some of you out there are achieving, the skills that you have, but these were probably the best figures I did. I mean, the British infantry, the coats. I managed to get a campaign look by using about four or five different shades of red and shading and washing. I really gave it everything I had, and I was very pleased with the results. But I'm particularly pleased with this set because it represents me having had a bit of a layoff from painting for probably a couple of months at least, if not longer, through ill health and a visit to the well, a stay in at the hospital related to diabetes problems associated with that, and the eyesight's not quite what it was, and the hands are a bit shakier than they were. So what I ended up with here, I'm a lot more pleased than I anticipated. I've also stuck with it, which has been a problem of mine in sticking with projects. But I've been quite quietly pleased with it. As I say, nothing great, but it's I like the look of them, and that's the main thing. Um, I appreciate some kind comments that Ralph made about my videos. I'm not sure I deserve it, but I tend to just point the camera, shoot, and down, or is it upload it? I'm never quite sure the result. And sometimes I'm horrified when I look back and I see my finger in the way, or like recently at the Excel Centre, I think it was Selwig, um, where I seemed to spend the first 5 minutes photographing people's trousers. But to use what I believe is an American expression, my efforts, well, they are what they are. Um, I don't say this in a flippant or offhand way, but you must take them or leave them, and I'm just pleased if people are kind and have a little interest in what I'm presenting, which is basically just to show you what I'm up to, what I've done. I don't have any friends who are, I was going to say no friends, full stop, but I don't have any friends who are actually interested in this hobby. Strangely enough, I didn't cultivate over the years such people with such interests. I'm not a war gamer as such. I'm a painter of war games figures and a great collector of war games literature and indeed rules, which I find them quite daunting. I have to say, some of the rule books look quite quite exceptionally complicated to me anyway. But what was I saying? I actually I love the hobby. I love watching what you all do. I love painting, as I say, at my own level. I've no one to please other than myself, really, and I'm quietly pleased with some of the stuff that I've achieved. As I say, this now represents a, a time getting back into the hobby. I mean, it's only maybe 2 or 3 months I was stopped painting, but it seems longer, and I thought I'd lost it, and I'm just glad to get these out, and I will continue with the rest of the figures. There's some Indians, native Indians, who look very much like the characters from Last of the Mohicans, Hawkeye and all, and also some British Dragoons. This set is for French and Indian War, but I believe the figures are properly American War of Independence. But it's acceptable, more or less, as far as I'm concerned. Um, going back to Ralph's videos, yeah, I mean, I like to switch on a video that interests me and get straight into it. I'm not fond of the, I mean, it's great production values and skillful photography and editing and all, but I like to just get into the videos and, get to the bare bones, as it were, without kind of, impressive music or titles that swirl around as if they're going down a plug. Oh, it's okay. You can fast forward it, but you know, to me, this is just kind of really just a message to friends. This is what I've done. This is what I've been doing, and I mean, all of you out there that do this hobby, I do regard you as friends. So I've never met you. I mean, I've looked out for people. Fraser, for example, at various shows. I probably wouldn't recognise you if I was standing next to you, but I have looked. Never met anyone, but I do regard you as friends because, I mean, it's a friendly hobby as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I've only had, well, very few comments that I would say were a little bit spiky. Um, someone um, commenting on my narration, and as I say, without being flippant, it really is what it is. It's me just leaving a message, and if you don't want to look at it, that's fine. I just try to do the best I can, but I'm no, filmographer or whatever. It's just a message, really. Uh, I'm not on camera this time. I'm not going to show any figures up close or anything like that. It is just a paint along, and I found it very therapeutic, as I say, listening to Ralph's comments, and I do enjoy that. I do enjoy when I'm painting, having someone talking about the hobby in the background. I like to look as well and see what people have done, of course. But yeah, paint along. I hadn't been too familiar with the concept. I probably looked sometimes and thought, oh, that's an hour long video or 2 hour, and probably preferred to just look at a 15 or 20 minute segment. But now, yeah, I can take hour chunks of videos. I find that quite good to sit along and paint with. Um, Still not got the ideal setup. I mean, as you can see, I've got the Humbrol paint tray with base and large selection of, well, that's a small selection of what I've actually got. I always seem to buy um, paintbrushes at the shows. I buy little else. I mean, I find that the first time, I don't know, 20 years or more ago when I went, I got figures, and it was a revelation to see them in the flesh, as it were, or in the metal. And yeah, I picked up a lot of stuff. I don't find I buy very much now. There was at, um, at the Excel Centre, I didn't see anything really that appealed to me that I hadn't already got or could get. So came away with nothing really. I didn't get my free figure either. I think they probably go in the first half an hour or so, but didn't get that again. And there was only one book I quite liked on the early history of wargaming and model soldier production. I'd never seen it before advertised. I think it was by Charles Grant Senior, and it was 27.50, and it just seemed a little bit much for a fairly small, slim book. I did look out for it on eBay, but no such luck. I still buy Osprey books regularly, particularly the campaign books. I mean, if I get a set of figures and I'm going to paint, I usually obtain a couple of uniform guide Ospreys and a campaign book. I bought a lot of the Revel 30 Years War figures. They're quite hard to get. They'd gone up a little bit, but I think they were £10 when they used to be in the shops, and I paid between 13 and 15 per box. I got a complete set of those, doubles of most of them, and it wasn't one of my, well, it wasn't one of the periods that I was really very much aware of. But I picked up a campaign book, um, King Gustav Adolphus and Swedish Army and the Imperial Army, and yeah, I mean it's still not for me. But as I say, when I get figures, I have to have books to go with them. I suppose it's an excuse I give myself, but I do a fair bit of retail therapy. I do like to buy books. Um, got quite an extensive library of uniform books, and I remember years ago, before Debenhams in Oxford Street got very, very posh, they used to have a library, a bookstore in the basement, and I picked up all. I think it was four editions of Donald Featherstone's War Games Through the Ages for about £15 for all of them, and they're now significantly more than £15 each. And I always try to pick up books whenever I can. I got, I think it was Battle Practical Wargaming some years ago in a charity bookshop in Scotland, uh, far north Inverness. 60p. Snap that up. Terry Wise's Introduction to Battle Gaming. Got a couple of copies of that. That was something that I was been looking at since I was about 12 or 13 years old, and looking on my shelves recently at some of my books. You've all probably done this. I opened up one or two of the books and receipts fell out. Where I purchased the books, I mean, about 3:25 on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, probably on my way home from school, in like 1971, 72, 73, and I'm sorry to say I probably hadn't done much more than just flick through them since I bought them. But I've got an awful lot of Airfix magazine guides, the little series of books on ancient Napoleonic, English Civil War, American Civil War, wargaming. I found those very inspirational. And yeah, most books. I mean, I've got Henry Hyde's large wargame tome, and yeah, I mean, going back even further, I picked up. I hadn't been aware of the publication, so I sent for back issues. I think I sent for the first 7 War Games Illustrated, and that's back in. I think that may even be 1979, 80, 81, but I'm not certain. I haven't got them with me, but I remember those arriving, all 7 issues, and being captivated by pictures on the front: Napoleonic cavalry, British colonial cavalry, um, various wonderful colour pictures which I hadn't really seen before. And as I say, that was one day 40 or so years ago, and I've still got them. I've still got the first. Well, I went to about 100, 150. I think I've at least got the first 20 or so, and they had wonderful articles before it got a little bit. Well, it got very serious and started to detail battles, you know, Middle Earth, and other battles I'd never heard of on Earth. And I'm not knocking it; that's something for everyone. But the early ones used to have wonderful reports from Peter Gilder at his War Games Centre. I think it was in Scarborough, and wonderful articles by Terry Wise and Stuart Asquith of the early days of people meeting up in their attics and wargaming. Seems so long ago now, using Airfix figures and various early metal manufacturers, Hinton Hunt, Lamming, and yeah, I mean, I do like reading about the early days of wargaming, and you know, that's the kind of time that I enjoy personally. But there's something for everyone. I'm not knocking anyone or anything. If I don't understand it or appreciate it, that's it's still good for those who want it. Um, I continue to plod on in my own quiet way, as I say, pleasing myself in terms of what I'm producing. I've got a couple of regiments here, New York, South Carolina, a couple of loyalist Americans, and a couple of British regiments. And it's not going to win any awards for sure, but as I say, I'm glad to have got back into the hobby and to, you know, it, it seemed very difficult at first to keep my hands steady, but with a giant application of willpower, I was able to, to achieve better results than I thought. And I'm going to stick with this till the end. I'm going to make the fort. Storage space is always a problem. I bought a paint rack recently and built it. Uh, Stuck it together with wood glue. That was all a bit messy, but it now looks fairly strong, and it's freed up a little bit more space. I'm in a flat, two-bedroom flat with my wife and two children, and as I say, my book collection predominates. I'm embarrassed to say, not a lot of room in here, but I'm still going to keep going. I'm going to try sell a lot of stuff on eBay. It's knowing what to charge. I mean, I think they're half decent. They are metal figures. Um, you're reluctant to sell them for what you paid for them, given the work that you put into them. But I suppose I would have to take the fact that, I've enjoyed painting them, and if I can get a little on top of what the casting is worth, I'll probably take that. Just need to free up a bit of room, and sadly, some of my Italeri sets will probably have to go. I was tempted to get the Monte Cassino set, but realistically, it is so big that it's not it's a non-starter for me really to produce that, and it's just going to gather dust. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say really, other than I continue. As I say, I fight health problems, and sometimes for a long time I lacked the will to sit here and paint. Certainly didn't have the willpower to sit and talk to camera. Um, it seemed at one stage to be a real chore. I couldn't think of anything to say, or much less be bothered. And but I've picked myself up a little bit since then. And as I say, these humble efforts of mine, I'm glad some people appreciate them, and if you don't, it's fine. It's just me talking really now, and hopefully, hopefully it will, it'll be some background noise if you're painting. Um, as I say, I was very, very taken by Ralph's paint-alongs. I found it extraordinarily interesting. I'm not just saying this because he was kind to me, but I like that sort of thing. I like someone talking with enthusiasm about the hobby and telling us what they're doing, what they've got, even going into their health problems, because we're all in the same boat, roughly, I suppose. We're all much of an age, give or take a few years. I'm often heartened by the fact that if I see someone doing a piece to camera with their bookshelf behind them, most of our bookshelves are, give or take a volume or two, very, very similar. And it's nice to know we're all reading the same books and doing more or less the same thing. I mean, we do the rounds. We're interested in 18th century at one point, and then we watched. I mean, I watched something on TV. Uh, I have the YouTube on there, and I'm sport for choice. I've never known it so good in terms of documentaries. I'll watch uh, a documentary about the Gordon Relief Expedition, and I've got to get the British colonial figures and dervish infantry out again and dust them down, or something Second World War will pique my interest. And I'm very easily I'm very easily kind of distracted in terms of period and what I'm actually doing. As I say, I'm not a war gamer, but I do paint war games figures, and generally as if for war gaming. Um, Try to base them more or less correctly, and yet I've only played one war game all my life, and that was at a Salute, or sorry, Selwig. I think Salute is the one at is at Excel, um, South East London War Games Group, Pickett's Lock. I played a game there, which was essentially like Dad's Army um, home guard defending against German paratroops who had landed and were trying to seize the local church. And with the help of the chap, I can't remember his name now, I do apologise, um, I was able to win that one using the very basic horns of the buffalo tactics. And I found it very enjoyable. As I say, I do look at the rule books, and I wasn't very good at school with mathematics, and I find some of these charts and you know the the the, the minutiae of the rules to be quite daunting. That's just me. That's my intellect. Um, but yeah, I love the hobby. Uh, I'm very fond of you guys in it, Fraser, Ralph, and I'm sorry, I'll probably forget a few names, but I do enjoy all your videos. Jack Sarge, the other chap I can't recall now. Emmett Miniatures, I think it was. Um, this is all me, a bit scattered in remembering, but I find it amazingly interesting, and I do regard you as friends that I've never met, but friends certainly. I mean, it's very heartening to listen to people talking about the hobby with enthusiasm. I like anybody uh, who presents on TV with enthusiasm. Tony Robinson, Time Team. You know, I know he's an actor, but he seems genuinely interested and thrilled by what they discover. And I like all of that. The programs about Egyptology, um, Bermuda Triangle, ghosts, aliens. You can take it or leave it in terms of fact or whether you believe, but I do enjoy the enthusiasm. An enthusiastic presenter, makes it for me. I enjoy that. I hope some of my own enthusiasm comes across. Um, but I mean, just to finish with, I'm actually going to wind up now because I'll probably think of other things to say in a later video. But just pleased to still be out there painting and watching, and yeah, I hope hope as I say, as background noise at the very least, this has given you something to think about. As I say, when I saw Ralph's um, paint along, I a lot to think about in there, and some good points. And I must admit that much of what you said, I got it, and Yeah, I agree with much of what he said in respect to the hobby and the videos. As I say, my own efforts are not up there, I know, but I'll give it a go anyway. But thank you all for listening. If you stayed this far, and I shall follow up hopefully. Thank you.